What actor is the most guilty of playing the same exact character in every film? Seth Rogen. He plays Seth Rogen on every possible movie. Even as a sausage he was Seth Rogen. Starring Dwayne Johnson as a buff dude spy who can fly helicopters and perform CPR, who is sometimes funny. Did you even see the other guys? He definitely cannot fly. Kevin Hart making and receiving jokes about his own diminutive stature is a given. I think the fact that I can't remember a single one of his characters' names speaks for itself. Edit. Apparently, I really need to check out The Upside. A lot of comedians that become actors seem to just play themselves. They've probably spent their whole career perfecting a particular persona and people just write them into movies. Michelle Rodriguez. Always played the tough military chick. Military chick who dies. She and Sean Bean are basically walking spoilers. David Attenborough. I've seen them all. Like, come on man, mix it up a little. Play a waiter or a spy or a gay prostitute. Yes, David always plays the narrator of wildlife programs. Every single time. I tried but I just can't see him on Blue Planet playing a gay prostitute. Steven Seagal. Playing Steven Seagal in movie called Steven Seagal. The best hammer of all time. Jason Statham. Edit. Except the movie Snatch, lol, that's my favorite movie of his. And yeah, I guess he played a little different role. So I'll give ya that one. I once heard a comedian say that all of his movies should just be numbered. Jason Statham 9. He fights a shark in this one. Ryan Reynolds. Same quirky guy who speaks in overly written quips. Never seen Buried? Katherine Heigl. An uptight, controlling, workaholic, but learns to be a little more easygoing by the end. Heigl, who somehow starred in almost every movie about an uptight, prudish workaholic lady whose every problem was solved by a dreamy guy's penis. Edit. Your opinions on Seth Rogen are inconsequential. The man is a dreamboat. My dad complains that Mark Ruffalo always plays a guy going through it, whatever that means. Edit. Unrelated. By my father's father also had strange but strong opinions about celebrities. He said that Scarlett Johansson was grotesque, which I mean, Bob, is she really grotesque? I guess my paternal family just wants to drag the whole Avengers cast slowly but surely. 13 going on 30. Can't remember the rest. But I always picture Mark with crow's feet, squinted eyes and hand rubbing the back of his neck. The Rock. He's an ex-military / police that is now a butterfly collector, but then he has to save the world. I'd watch the duck out of that movie. I can already hear the trailer. He tried to leave a life of violence behind him. Then, they took the woman he loved. This summer, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in The Butterfly Game. PG-13. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Love the guy, but he seems to be in a lot of movies where he is just The Rock to me. Uses smoldering intensity. Kevin James. Any Kevin James film is instantly a Paul Blart Mall Cop spin-off in my mind now. Don't know his name, but he's a Spanish, Mexican actor who plays a gangster in almost all his movies. Pretty sure his name is usually Hector too. Bald head, white tank top, goatee, I think. You guys know who I'm talking about. Noel Guglielmi is his name. Lol at his credits. Gang leader, gangbanger #1, inmate #1, Latino convict, Latino thug, bar thug #2, hood, cholo #2, ex-prisoner, rooftop hood, Hector, 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 Hector. Godzilla. Now, sometimes he's doing jumping kicks on an evil monster. Sometimes he's the embodiment of nuclear destruction. He's got some range. Rebel Wilson. She was good in Jojo Rabbit because it was a minor role and had good writing and direction. And her whole shtick wasn't hair there fat lol. Vin Diesel. Edit. How with 9 letters? Can I have more of 8K karma? Yes. Same role in every movie. The semi-muscular bad hero with 90s cool lines. Hector. Some say he's got so many spoon engines he uses them to eat his breakfast. Hugh Grant. Dithering, bumbling Englishman. David Spade. Annoying American man teenager. Hugh Grant plays a slightly different role in The Gentleman. Mark Wahlberg. Always the uneducated, but charming common man. Funny thing is, when I was little I thought Leo DiCaprio and Matt Damon were the same guy. Edit. Holy crap. I did not expect this to blow up. To those of you who are shocked, let me remind you I was a little kid. Their facial features just seemed so similar to me, especially Matt and Mark. And Leo and Matt both have the soft babyish face. Yeah, I know the difference now, but they still seem similar to me. Paul Rudd. It's almost always fair to assume that he'll be playing some sort of lovable goof in a movie. Edit. I'm not saying Paul Rudd doesn't have range as an actor. All I'm saying is a lot of his characters have that similar lovable goof personality to it. And since he's immortal he'll be doing that forever. Rob Schneider in every Adam Sandler movie. You couldn't be more wrong. In Big Daddy, he's vaguely Eastern European. In 50 First Dates, he's vaguely Polynesian. In Waterboy, he's vaguely Cajun. In Little Nicky, he's also vaguely Cajun. In I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, he's vaguely Asian. The man has range that would put Gary Oldman to shame. Zooey Deschanel. If Manic Pixie Dream Girl characters formed their own country, she would be their god empress. This video makes a convincing case that her performance in 500 Days inverts the Manic Pixie Dream Girl trope. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is looking for such a woman, and in doing so views Zooey Deschanel's complex and nuanced character as a simple wish fulfillment for him, flattening her. By the end of the film he grows to appreciate his mistake, allowing him to grow. This is only possible because Deschanel does not actually play a Manic Pixie Dream Girl. Yalto. 74 comments and how the duck has Michelle Rodriguez not been mentioned yet? She's done an interview about this. People can call it typecast, but I pigeonholed myself. Saying no to the girlfriend, saying no to the girl that gets captured, and eventually I just got left with the strong chick who's always being killed. John Wayne. He may have played characters under different names in his movies, but if you purge all that, they all did exactly the same things in exactly the same ways, for the same motives. Arguably the closest he got to breaking type was Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, The Conqueror, and Brannigan obviously, but in every other movie he basically played John Wayne in different clothes, and an eye patch for two. Even in roles where he'd have done better to add some depth, he just played himself with different clothes. Anytime he tried to step outside the basic pattern, it was blatantly obvious that he was out of his element and terrifically uncomfortable. Classical example, Barbarian and the Geisha, 1958. These men have a sickness, stay away from them. The very delivery of the dialogue was so forcefully stilted and uncomfortable that you'd have to work hard to find an actor who could deliver the lines worse. John Ratzenberger's character Cliff Clavin could have done it better. Edit. Note, if you haven't seen Quiet Man, there are spoilers below. Not sure why I should put spoiler alerts on a 68-year-old movie, but it is what it is. If you haven't seen Quiet Man but intend to, read no further. It's a good flick by JW standards. Everybody keeps saying Quiet Man was a departure. Yeah, sorta, maybe ish. It's an excellent film, done magnificently, and it stands, in my opinion, as some of his best work. All I know is, it's the same drawl, same misplaced swagger, and he still ends up in a knockdown dragout with Victor McLaglen that, while highly entertaining, was classical John Wayne beats up that, sort of, bad guy. As far as departure from his typical goes, there's a little added drama for the way his boxing career ended, and it is an excellent piece. But it's still a John Wayne / John Ford collab. Take JW out of the flat cap, and put him in a Stetson. It could be set in Kansas City. If we want to look for major departures, gotta say Ward Bond killed it playing a role he hadn't played in every film we'd seen him in. QM is a cowboy picture set in Ireland. It's different than his typical, but not overwhelmingly so. Put Gary Cooper, Kirk Douglas, even Burt Lancaster in there, and it's a masterpiece. As made, it's John Wayne with psychological baggage. Great film, one of my favorites, but it's still a typical predictable John Wayne movie. As soon as the plotline revealed that there was tension between Scene and Red, honestly I expected a gunfight, but the fist fight makes more sense. Until it doesn't. Already accidentally killed one guy with his fists and his resolution for a relatively mild conflict is to have a fist fight. That's a plot hole I'm ashamed of John Ford not noticing. It wrecks whatever sympathy Scene earned for his distraught hesitation. It's a great film. It's still a John Ford/John Wayne film. It was hilarious when John Wayne played Genghis Khan. It was pretty much John Wayne as his normal cowboy character playing a Mongolian. Michael Cera, except in This Is the End, has different in Molly's Game. He plays an a-hole, and supposedly it's meant to be Tobey Maguire. Owen Wilson. His early stuff had some variety. Behind Enemy Lines was not too bad. Sadly it fell apart pretty quickly afterwards. Tommy Wiseau always seems to be doing a Tommy Wiseau impression. Haha, what a story mark. Samuel Jackson. All of his characters same a Thurfka in one way or another. Take a seat, young Martha Ducker. Jesse Eisenberg, the dude from Zombieland, Social Network and Now You See Me, among others. Always plays a stuck-up narcissistic a-hole who comes across as thinking he's God. I'm pretty sure he's not even acting, just rocks up and starts talking down to everyone. I've met him/worked around him. He's actually really nice. I had the expectation that he would be a prick too, but he was pleasant. Edit, just to clarify, we aren't BFFs or anything, and I didn't watch whatever interview you folks are talking about. But he was nice to Mike Kazumi, so I just thought I'd mention that, because I've definitely worked with some performers who treat the crew like shiz, but he was not one of them. At least not in my experience. Aubrey Plaza. Always a scary, edgy, funny because she's being serious vibe. Not a bad thing. I'm just starting to think they are just recording her being herself after she wandered on set. If you don't know her, think Parks and Rec. Not a bad thing. I'm just starting to think they are just recording her being herself after she wandered on set. If you don't know her, think Parks and Rec. That's pretty close to what actually happened. They thought her real personality was so quirky after her audition that they created the April character for her. Bruce Willis. In the 80s he was the guy from Moonlighting, cocky, punchy, streetwise and lots of quips. Then he became McLean, a cockier punchier version of David Edison. Ditto Pulp Fiction, where he kinda had a darker edge, but still the quips. Then the Shyamalan movies, where he got darker still and more serious. He's evolved, but it's like he's just playing the same character, just older and more serious each time. The one time he played against type in Friends as the guy who couldn't stop crying, it was such an inside joke. You should try Death Becomes Her. I didn't realize Bruce Willis was one of the leads until I looked it up later. Jason Uptight Businessman Bateman. I heard him last week in an interview explain his everyman appeal as people just see me as a reflection of themselves in these situations. It was pretty shocking to me, not only to be hit with how obvious of a realization that was, but for the man himself to have enough self-awareness to be the one to inform me of it. He just gets that he is the vessel for the average Joe to live vicariously through in fantastical or even mundane yet relatable situations. Will Smith literally plays alternate universe versions of himself in every role. Will Smith but has raised by his aunt and uncle in Bel Air. Will Smith but has an Air Force pilot. Will Smith but has a cop, etc. Edit. I should start this off by saying I appreciate all the upvotes and comments, and this is all said in good fun and jest. Also, I'm a fan of just about any and everything Will Smith does for the exact reason that I almost always know what I will get out of a Will Smith movie. Yes, I know that Will Smith has other roles than what I mentioned here, and yes, the term literally is used figuratively here for hyperbolic effect. I know that Will Smith has taken on roles that show he is a well-skilled actor. I have seen 7 pounds, The Pursuit of Happiness, and I'm Legend. But for the sake of argument, it should be noted that Will Smith has 82 acting credits on IMDb. 4 of those credits haven't been released yet, so let's not count those, and let's remove the 3 previously mentioned movies. That leaves us with a grand total of 75 movies in which Will Smith's role in said movie could be described as Will Smith but he is in a specific situation, in some random occupation, something that isn't human, and is then personified, or in a special case some mix of those 3. I will say the response has shown me that it would be fun to go through the list put in writing what Will Smith is doing, so I'll do a few more, and you all can help me with the rest. Will Smith but he's a cowboy. Wild Wild West. Will Smith but he's a genie. Aladdin 2019. Will Smith but he's a cop for Aliens. Men in Black 1 2 3. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Have fun finishing the list. The exception being Pursuit of Happiness, which made me cry like a baby. Mark Wahlberg, the Boston guy, always has almost parodying himself in The Departed, yet it's still probably his best role besides maybe Boogie Nights. Noah Centineo. I was looking for this comment, lol. He has his own Noah Centineo cinematic universe. Sean Connery. I'll wash the shame. r/subreddit. Jed starred in White Fang, 1991, White Fang 2, Myth of the White Wolf, 1994, The Journey of Natty Gann, 1985, and The Thing, 1982. He was born in 1977 and died in June 1995. He was a Vancouver Island Wolf Alaskan Malamute hybrid. Wikipedia. Oh, but he didn't die tragically young. I have a bit of a story that works in the context of your question. I once heard somebody say Robert De Niro always plays the same character. That same person about a week later came back to me and said how wrong he initially was when he told me that he thought De Niro always played the same character, had just seen Casino and Goodfellas but none of De Niro's other work. When he came back to me a week later, he had just seen Deer Hunter and Taxi Driver. To anyone who thinks Robert De Niro isn't a very versatile actor, you are completely mistaken. To anyone who thinks Robert De Niro isn't a very versatile actor, you are completely mistaken. And they haven't seen Midnight Run. De Niro doing comedy long before Meet the Parents. Arnold Schwarzenegger in his Death and No One Is Complaining. Hold up, what about Junior and Kindergarten Cop? I thought those roles were fairly different. Fairly. But like you said, not complaining either way, man. Sean Bean. Not always the same role, but usually the same fate. I forget what movie it is, but there was a role written specifically for him where everyone else died, and he was the only survivor. Introducing Kevin James as lovable fat American guy and Rebel Wilson that has lovable fat Australian girl. Produced by Adam Sandler. Emma Roberts as the mean girl / brat. Yeah, but Channel Oberlin is one of my favorite comedic characters. Vince Vaughn. Brawl in Cell Block 99. Benedict Cumberbatch. Has always the arrogant genius with poor social skills. Small really did have difficulty with making friends. Bruce Campbell. Bubba Hotep. Dwayne Johnson aka The Rock. Nicolas Cage as well, albeit to a lesser extent. Dude, Nicolas Cage played John Travolta. If that isn't range, I don't know what is. Will Ferrell. Very surprised I had to scroll this far for Will Ferrell. He was one of the first people that came to mind. People commenting about his different roles. I submit to you that they're a lot more similar than you think because of how he portrays himself in those roles. Adam Sandler. He quit playing characters in like 1998, except for Uncut Gems and Punch Drunk Love. Most of the cast of It's Always Sunny. I love the show and I love them, but whatever they play outside of the show seems to be the same character. Charlie Day plays Charlie. Even in Pacific Rim he was like Smart Charlie. Glenn Howerton is basically playing a toned down version of Dennis in A.P. B.O. and Caitlin Olsen played pretty much D in the Mick. That's the problem with being on an amazing show for over a decade. Your fans will start seeing you for only the character you played on that show. But I will say that Olsen's character on Curb Your Enthusiasm was a lot different than D, with the exception of her appearance in season 10. Also, a lot of stuff DeVito has done is a lot different than Frank. Have you ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Stanley. That's not true. He plays like tons of characters. And every character has a job, like a school bus driver, or a security guard of museum, like Hugh Hefner. Another time we see this great actor playing as a general, one time he was a bartender, and so on and so forth. The guy had a huge range, man, I tell you. People say Paul Giamatti is a great character actor. In my opinion he is literally always Paul Giamatti. Purses his lips, shakes head in disagreement. Jenna Jameson. Same role every time. Melissa McCarthy playing Melissa McCarthy with different hair. Different in Gilmore Girls, much more affable. Jennifer Aniston. I give her props for The Good Girl. She played way against type and did a beautiful job. Great movie too. I'm disappointed she kept making repetitive commercial crap because I think she showed some real versatility. Deleted. He has only one accent, but he rocks it so well. Seth Rogen is a lazy stoner in literally every movie. Dantry Joe. Machete don't act. Love him though. Woody Allen. He plays Woody Allen always. Jack Black plays Jack Black in every movie he's in. This is a terrible take. Jack Black has so many exceptions. Gonna get buried, but Ashton Kutcher. Since that 70s show he was doomed to play the lovable idiot edit. As you guys have pointed out in the comments, he's definitely not the same in every movie. I was mistaken and I'm wrong. I'm gonna leave this comment up for the mea culpa. Not really. He had a great role in The Butterfly Effect. It was a great movie at the time and he has had a couple more roles, although he is indeed associated heavily with the lovable idiot. I want to say Tom Cruise, but he was actually great in Magnolia and Tropic Thunder. He's also ducking incredible in Collateral. Johnny Depp. He used to have range, but now he's just Johnny Depp. He is typecasted nowadays, but he still has a mile of range. Ed Helms. I don't mind it. I love his movies. The Onsala in the Lorax. No way. Danny McBride. Lovable man-child whose ridiculous one-liners and ideas are surprisingly cogent and heartfelt. Snore. I like him in supporting roles, but when he's the main focus he's just a big baby. Think he did okay in the lesser-known spoof Your Highness. Who's that guy who plays the Latino Hector in every film? Lonfeo. Noel Guglielmi. Jackie Chan. He's a great actor, but for some reason he always plays the Asian guy. He doesn't want any trouble. Rashida Jones. She literally just plays a person in everything she's in. Not a funny person. Just someone. Her personality is regular. Her ranges from mildly upbeat to mildly annoyed. Jesse Eisenberg. I mean, clearly he wouldn't play a dorky guy near an amusement park more than once. Jason Statham is this serious dude with an accent that knows how to fight and cannot be killed whatsoever, and I ducking love him. No one said Tom Cruise. Tropic Thunder disagrees. Robert Redford. He has one character in him. Granted, he plays it very well. Looks at you, knowingly smiles. A lot of times Leonardo DiCaprio's characters end up turning crazy/mentally unstable. We see this in Shutter Island, The Beach, The Basketball Diaries, Inception, The Wolf of Wall Street, and arguably more. There's a big difference between Leo and, say, Dwayne Johnson, though. Leo will change his accent, his physical appearance, mannerisms, etc. for every role. So while he may be a bit crazy in The Revenant and Inception, those are completely different characters. Meanwhile Dwayne Johnson wears the same outfit and looks the same for every character has ever played. Mark Wahlberg. He has played Matt Damon in some movie though. Angelina Jolie. Always a spy or a hot woman with a secret. Girl Interrupted is such a different version of her for me. I thought she was phenomenal as a narcissistic mental patient host, so devious and cold it feels like she's scraping away at every insecurity you have when she speaks. In movies, Chris Pratt. Tough guy, has internal struggles, is really fit, finds a girl, makes jokes. How many movies has he done that in? Absolutely Jennifer Aniston. Because she's the most one-dimensional actor ever. I argue that title goes to Cameron Diaz. Jim Carrey doesn't play different characters. He plays Jim Carrey playing different characters. You should The Truman Show, or Fun with Rick and Jane. He knows how to reel it in sometimes. Seth Rogen. Steve Jobs. He was a standout role as Wozniak. And this was a film with Michael Fassbender and Kate Winslet in it. Solid proof that even the most unfunny unoriginal actors can perform well with good writing and direction. Gabrielle Union. Oh my, you watched until the end? That's fucking awesome dude. Thanks for watching.